When was the last time you looked in the mirror and asked yourself, am I truly living the life I want, not the life others expect from you? Not the version that appears socially acceptable, but the life that deeply resonates with your inner self. Carl Jung, one of the most influential figures in modern psychology, offered a powerful truth, one that most people avoid: the importance of choosing yourself, even when everything around you urges otherwise. We live in a world carefully built to keep us distracted, caught in routines, expectations, and obligations. From the moment you wake up, you're met with demands: work, family, responsibilities, social norms, all telling you how to act, what to pursue, and what success should look like. But here's something few are willing to admit. Every time you put others ahead of your own well-being, you send a quiet message to your inner self that its needs, desires, and voice don't matter. You overlook the subtle guidance of your unconscious, the voice that consistently tries to steer you toward a life that feels more honest and aligned. Jung taught that our relationship with the unconscious isn't optional, it's central to who we are. Yet many suppress it, they avoid it. They ignore the signs because facing them often feels uncomfortable. That unease you sometimes feel, that subtle sense that something's not quite right, isn't meaningless. It's your soul trying to get your attention, signaling that something in your life may need to shift, even if the thought of change unsettles you. So take a moment to reflect. How many of your recent decisions came from a place of true self-honesty? And how many were shaped by fear of letting others down, of being different, of discomfort, or of leaving what's familiar? Jung emphasized this reflection because he understood a timeless truth. When your choices aren't grounded in your inner truth, they create only confusion and detachment. The more you stray from who you really are, the more disconnected you become. But let's be clear, choosing yourself isn't about rejecting others. It's not selfish. It's about understanding that to offer your best to the world, you must first be in harmony with yourself. This is the essence of self-love, a principle Jung explored deeply. Self-love isn't indulgent. It's not a reason to run from responsibility. It's the bedrock of genuine and healthy relationships. When you begin to prioritize your well-being, something shifts. You start to attract people, experiences, and opportunities that align with your deeper truth. It's as if the universe responds to your authenticity by clearing away what no longer serves you and making room for what does. But to reach this place, you must first face your inner shadows, the parts of yourself you've denied, buried, or feared. Jung described the shadow as the unseen side of our psyche, housing everything we prefer not to admit. And while facing it can be difficult, it's only through this process that real growth begins. When you integrate your shadows, accept rather than fight them, you unlock a strength you didn't know was there. This journey doesn't happen overnight. It demands courage, patience, and a strong commitment to understanding yourself, but what it gives back is profound. Clarity, a clearer vision beyond the illusions you once held. Purpose, a renewed sense of direction. Peace, a calm so deep that even chaos cannot disturb it. You gain the ability to say no without guilt, to walk away from what doesn't feel right, without fear of judgment, and most importantly, you gain the freedom to be yourself. You may be wondering, how do I begin? It starts simply. Listen to yourself. Whenever you feel discomfort, uncertainty, or emotional intensity, pause. Ask, what is my unconscious trying to tell me? Because as Jung once said, the answers you search for outside are already within you. You just need the courage to hear them and the strength to act on them. One of the hardest things we'll ever do is follow our intuition, especially when it challenges everything we've built. Maybe it's a relationship that no longer feels right, a job that leaves you drained but feels too risky to leave, or a goal you've been pursuing, not because you want it, but because it looked good on paper. Jung reminds us, ignoring these inner signals isn't a sign of resilience. It's a denial of your true nature. To choose yourself means being brave enough to let go of what no longer fits. And yes, that can be terrifying. We often cling to the familiar out of fear. We tell ourselves, better the devil you know. But Jung encourages us to view change not as loss, but as a doorway, a path to a more genuine life. So ask yourself, what are you still holding on to that no longer supports your growth? What beliefs, habits, or relationships are you keeping out of fear? Letting go may feel like losing something, but the real loss happens when you give up your peace just to hold on to what's already over. And so, the real question is, are you ready to choose yourself? This isn't an act of selfishness, it's a deep expression of self-respect. We've been conditioned to think putting ourselves first is wrong, as if meeting our own needs somehow betrays others. But the truth is the opposite. When you finally decide to choose yourself, a quiet kind of transformation unfolds. It's as if the fog starts to lift. Suddenly, your perspective becomes clearer. Those who truly value you remain. Those who merely took from you begin to fade. This isn't coincidence. It's a reflection of inner change, what Jung called synchronicity, the link between your thoughts, emotions, and the unfolding of your external world. As your inner world shifts, so too does your outer life. But this change requires something difficult, radical honesty. Choosing yourself isn't just about big declarations or setting boundaries. It's also about admitting when you've made decisions that weren't aligned with who you really are. Maybe you allowed others to cross lines. Maybe you agreed to things you should have turned down, just to keep the peace. But this isn't a reason for shame. It's an invitation to grow, to learn from the past and make different choices moving forward. Jung taught that authenticity is not a final destination. It's an ongoing journey of growth, of becoming more fully yourself. And along the way, you'll face challenges. It will be times when you second-guess yourself, when old habits lure you back, because they're familiar, even if they no longer serve you. But remember, growth doesn't happen in comfort. The most meaningful change happens when you step into the unknown. The world won't always applaud your decision to put yourself first. Some will question you, some may distance themselves. Because when you stop seeking validation, you challenge the status quo. You begin to realize your worth isn't defined by others. It's something you carry within. This doesn't mean isolating yourself. In fact, the opposite happens. Your relationships begin to deepen, not because you chase approval, but because you seek real connection. You no longer settle for surface-level interactions. You look for relationships that nourish your spirit, and that's when you discover something powerful. The right people will stay. Not out of need, but because they appreciate you as you are. As you live more authentically, your reality adjusts. This isn't magic. It's the natural harmony between your internal and external worlds. Jung often spoke of how our minds project inward conflict outward. If you feel divided within, life reflects that. If you reject yourself, you'll experience rejection. But when you accept yourself fully and unapologetically, life starts to meet you where you are. This change takes time. It's a process that asks for consistency and self-compassion. There will be setbacks. Old patterns may try to resurface. And this is the real test. Can you continue to choose yourself, even when it's hard, even when it feels lonely? Society often celebrates self-sacrifice. But at what cost? We're taught to give endlessly, even when it empties us. But what happens when we have nothing left to give? Choosing yourself isn't selfish. It's essential, because only when you're whole, only when you're aligned with your truth, can you give to others from a place of abundance, not depletion. So choose yourself, not just once, but every day. in small moments and big ones, and watch your life begin to unfold in ways you never imagined. Jung taught us something deeply important. You cannot give what you don't have. If you abandon your happiness, energy, or inner calm to please others, then what you're offering isn't genuine. Eventually, that imbalance will show through burnout, unhappiness, or emotional numbness. Take a closer look at your relationships. Which ones uplift you and which ones leave you drained? Jung invites us to reflect because our connections mirror our inner state. The people we keep close reflect our values, beliefs, and emotional patterns. If someone repeatedly disrespects your boundaries, it may not be about them. It could be that a part of you hasn't yet learned to stand firm. Setting boundaries isn't selfish. It's an act of self-respect. Jung believed that the unconscious is always working to guide us toward balance. Yet most of the time, we ignore its signs. That feeling of depletion is one of them. This is the true power of choosing yourself. It reconnects you with your intuition, that internal compass that has always been present, waiting for your trust. Jung described intuition as one of the most direct ways we access the unconscious. It's that subtle but clear sense of feeling in your gut when something feels right or wrong. But to fully hear it, you need to quiet the noise of the outside world. This involves releasing the need for validation, detaching from societal roles, and learning to place trust in your own judgment. Ultimately, only you can know what is truly best for you. When you make the choice to honor yourself, you're sending a powerful message to the universe. I'm ready to live in alignment with who I really am. And the universe responds. Suddenly, you begin to attract people, opportunities, and circumstances that reflect your authenticity. This doesn't mean challenges disappear, but the nature of those challenges changes. They no longer feel like endless obstacles. They become moments for growth, evolution, and deeper understanding. By choosing to live authentically, you also begin to notice what Jung referred to as synchronicity, those seemingly random but perfectly timed events that begin to show up in your life. These aren't coincidences. They mirror your inner alignment. When you're in harmony with yourself, the world around you starts to reflect that. Doors begin to open naturally. The right people appear exactly when needed. Life flows in ways that once seemed out of reach. This is the reward of embracing your true self. When you give attention to your inner world, your external reality starts to reflect that care. And in this deep alignment, you discover not only greater fulfillment, but also a lasting sense of peace. The kind that comes from knowing you are exactly where you're meant to be. Choosing yourself sets powerful change in motion. The universe seems to meet you halfway. The right opportunities emerge effortlessly, and the right people show up just as you need them. Life begins to unfold with a sense of ease that once felt impossible. It's as if reality itself starts adjusting to your new direction. What once seemed distant becomes achievable, but that doesn't mean the path is smooth. Often, the most difficult tests come right after you commit to choosing yourself. The world, long accustomed to a version of you shaped by pleasing others, may resist your change. You might feel the pressure of expectations pushing against you, pulling you back into old habits. Doubts will arise, fears will resurface, and the comfort of the familiar may feel tempting. This is where your strength is tested. Each time you reaffirm your choice, each time you prioritize inner peace over external demands, you reinforce the connection to your true self. The key is to remain committed, especially when uncertainty appears. It's natural to feel fear when leaving behind the familiar, even if it no longer serves you. But keep this in mind. Every time you stay in a place that brings no joy, you close yourself off from experiences that could transform you. Jung taught that change rarely comes without resistance, but that resistance isn't a sign of error. It's evidence that you're evolving. It's the tension between who you were and who you're becoming. One of the most effective ways to move through this resistance is through honest self-reflection. Ask yourself, what do I truly care about? What matters most to me? What kind of life am I trying to create? When your values are clear, making aligned decisions becomes easier. And as you do, you start drawing in people and circumstances that reflect that energy. The outer world adjusts to your inner clarity. Also, know this, you're not alone on this journey. While choosing yourself may initially feel like a solitary act, it naturally leads you to others on a similar path. Those who will support you, walk with you, and appreciate you for who you are, not who you need to be for them. They won't ask you to shrink or shift. They will meet you as you are, because they, too, are committed to living authentically. And when that happens, something within you changes permanently. Life no longer feels like a constant battle. The choices that once seemed difficult become clear and confident. Most importantly, you begin to experience peace. One that isn't dependent on anything outside of you. As Jung pointed out, true peace comes from within. It's the result of honoring your needs, holding your boundaries, and living in line with your values. But this peace isn't just for you. It's something that radiates outward. When you live from a place of authenticity, you inspire others to do the same. Your example becomes a source of light for others still finding their way. And in doing so, your transformation creates a ripple effect, impacting everyone around you. Take a moment to imagine your life without what no longer serves you. What would it feel like to release the relationships that drain you, the roles that don't fit, and the expectations that were never yours to carry? Picture the freedom, the clarity, the lightness you might feel. This isn't a fantasy, it's possible, and it's within reach. It begins with the decision to choose yourself. When you do, you'll see that you're not losing anything by letting go. In fact, you're making space for what truly matters. You're creating a life that makes sense to you and fills you with meaning. And that, in itself, is a transformation worth pursuing. This is the realization Jung wanted us all to discover. The transformation begins the moment we stop searching outside ourselves for something that was always within. It begins when we choose to live from a place of truth, not from who we were taught to be, but from who we are. And when this shift happens, something powerful unfolds. You begin to feel fully alive. You're no longer weighed down by others' expectations or confined by society's rigid definitions of success. Instead, you begin listening to that quiet inner voice, the one that's always been there, gently guiding you, urging you to believe there's something more, if only you're willing to follow it. This sense of freedom is priceless. It feels like a weight has lifted, letting you breathe with depth and ease, perhaps for the first time in a long while. But finding that freedom requires bravery. It asks you to face not only external expectations, but internal fears, the doubts, the insecurities, the limiting beliefs. Jung reminded us, the greatest obstacle we face isn't out there, it's within. It's the persistent voice whispering, what if I'm not enough? What if I fail? What if I let others down? But here's the truth. Those voices are not your truth. They're echoes of old conditioning, shaped by past experiences. And each time you challenge them, each time you act despite the fear, you break them down, piece by piece, creating room for something new. This is the essence of choosing yourself. It's how you free yourself from invisible restraints. And as you continue down this path, you'll notice something else. The things that once seemed so important, the need for approval, the urge to compare, the pressure to perform, start to fade. You no longer feel driven to compete or conform. Instead, you find deep satisfaction in simply being yourself, and in that space, you discover your true power. This power isn't about control or dominance. It's rooted in your connection to your inner self, the part of you that has always known what you need. It's a quiet force, steady and unshakable, but it is powerful, Because when you are fully aligned with yourself, standing in your truth, nothing can shake you off your path. What's most remarkable is that this process doesn't just change your life, it transforms others' lives when you choose yourself, you become an example of what authenticity looks like. You don't have to preach or persuade. Your very presence encourages others to reflect, to question, and to move toward their own truth. Carl Jung understood this deeply. He knew that personal transformation leads to a broader shift. Every time someone chooses authenticity, it contributes to collective change. Because when we live as our true selves, our relationships shift, our communities evolve, and even the world itself can begin to transform. But let's be clear, this journey isn't a straight line. Some days you'll feel strong and connected. Other days, doubt will return. You may question your path. This isn't failure. It's part of the process. Jung saw these moments as invitations, chances to go deeper, to reflect, to grow. Each setback, each challenge is an opportunity to move closer to your truest self. And during those uncertain moments, remember, you are not alone. Though the journey to authenticity can feel solitary at first, you will find support, whether through people, experiences, or moments that arrive just when you need them. These aren't accidents. They are confirmations. They are reminders that you're on the right path. Every step, every decision, every challenge you've faced has led you to this moment. And while the future remains unknown, one thing is certain. As long as you keep choosing yourself, you are building a life that is deeply worth living. The greatest gift you can give yourself is to be unapologetically you, not the version shaped by others' expectations, not the one molded just to fit in, but your real self, the essence that exists when no one's watching. As Jung wrote, the true journey of life doesn't lie in seeking answers outside ourselves. It lies in exploring the deep mysteries within. And when you finally choose to embrace who you are, you realize something profound. Everything you were searching for has been inside you all along. This is your invitation. Life is waiting.